Berserker Terran. Show him how to do it. Show him how to play Terran. Come on. Come on, Iris. You got this. Who's he playing? Who's he playing? What was it? A TVZ? TVP? I think it was TVP, right? What Protoss do they have? They have Shuttle. Deer. Deer. They have... Anybody else? Any STX fans want to help me out? It is Trap. Oh shit, how can I forget Trap? He's like the best player they have. Wow, I'm dumb. Look at that, he's 17 and 6 overall. I would tell you what percentage that is, but I can't do math. But it's really good. He has more wins than losses. And look at that, he's 7 and 1 in Brood Wars. So sick. So sick. Alright. Apparently it's a 75% win rate. Sweet. So. Sorry, just finishing off my cereal. It's absolutely delicious. Alright, what do we have here? A TVP between the Berserker Terran and the kid who has suddenly become a mega Gosu this season. I don't remember him being particularly notable last season. Like, he did play some games, but he didn't really make a big impression, so not too sure what he's done in the off season to become so awesome. Anyway, Iris will be the red Terran in the top left, Trap will be the purple Protoss. In the bottom left, we are on Sniper Ridge. So, Sniper Ridge, I believe, is slightly favored for Protoss. At least it was last season, statistically. But it's pretty close. It's pretty balanced. I think it's a pretty good map. Actually, no, it's a lie. I don't like it. Because if you get Lurker contained on this map, you just can't win anymore. So, SCV, building a depot, standard. This map has seen a lot of amusing TVPs, shall we say. For example, the legendary turn versus stats game was played on this map. As well as some funky carrier games. And Iris being the Berserker Terran. Well, actually, you know, I was gonna say, you know, he got the nickname Berserker because he was ridiculously aggressive, as you know, compared to most Terrans who are much more turtly and defensive. But recently he seems to be playing a lot more standard. Like, I feel like all the games I watch him just as, you know, standard old 1-rax expand into turtle up and do a push, blah blah blah. Need some of the old Iris back. Need some of that crazy guy. He's like the Quanro of Terran, I guess. Anyway, core is on the way for our Protoss player Trap. And I mean, this is very interesting. So Trap is definitely a favorite in this matchup, and I think Air Force Ace overall, or at least I've heard, they just like completely focused on SC2 now. Even though I think they along with Team 8 after last season getting demolished, they were like, all right, well, let's just only play StarCraft 2, and then next season when they do Hybrid Pro League, we can actually win some matches. So I'm not expecting the highest level play here from their Brood War guys, but we shall see. Unfortunately for them, players like Trap are also ridiculously good in StarCraft 2, so if it does somehow go to an ace match, I'm not sure who they have that can beat Trap. And more importantly, it might end up being a PvP, because their best player is basically Guenchi, Xanadu. So they might send him against Trap, and that would kind of suck. And meanwhile, ooh, that's actually unusual here. We have a Zealot out already. That is extremely unusual to get a Zealot first in PvT. You really only do this when you're like DT rushing, and you want to block your ramp, but you don't want to like. So you want to block your ramp against scouts, and also it doesn't cost any of your gas to make that Zealot. But he doesn't seem to be doing anything out of the ordinary, just getting a second gateway now. So if I was Iris, actually, I'd be completely faked out. Ooh, 2-fact. 2-fact from Iris. That's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of aggressive craziness that I want to see from Iris. By that I mean it's kind of a cheesy build, and it's gonna get shut down by the 2-gate. 2-fact. Yeah. It's good against 1-gate expanding, which is a fairly common opener nowadays. But Trap has gone for a 2-gate. And so as long as he controls his goons half decently, he will be absolutely fine. Especially on this map where there's all those ridges that you can abuse as well while the Terran is moving across the map. And also he has that early Zealot, which is going to kind of confuse things here. Because usually you're not, when you're the Terran, you're not used to having that Zealot to worry about as well. Usually you just have a bunch of Dragoons that you want to micro against and target down. But that Zealot definitely throws a wrench in things. It's actually funny, it reminds me of a story that Artosis told about one of the first tournaments he actually played. I don't know if anyone listened to during the StarCraft 2 beta campfire stories thing, where Artosis was talking about like his first LAN. Yeah, apparently he had an awesome crazy 1-fact marine push thing that got owned by some Zealot opening. But anyway, looks like the push has now commenced. And, well, doing some good micro here. Oh my goodness, he actually might get flanked by these units here. Oh my goodness, the mine is not going to trigger. You might lose a siege tank, but you might run into mines as well. But the Zealot, as I said, is going to tank a lot of that damage very, very well from the mines. Looks like that one Marine managed to kill a Dragoon here. But this 2-fact is getting completely shut down. Oh my goodness, this is not even close. This is just so ugly here. And that's exactly what happens, what you'd expect to happen 2-gate against 2-fact. There's just no chance for the 2-facting player if the Protoss is half decent. Anyway, a couple of SCVs coming out here. He might actually run into these spider mines. That'd be pretty bad. It's very unhealthy running into spider mines. Ugh. By the way, I just watched the Heart of the Swarm PvT thing that Day9 posted yesterday, where they showed the Widow mines, and man, they're like exact copies of spider mines, except that you can actually control them. Which was so funny. Like, they have a burrow command, but otherwise they look exactly like a spider mine. I just thought they were really, really funny. I was like, hey, look at the spider mine, and then he unburrows it, and I'm like, oh, well, I guess not. Anyway, looks like the 2-fact is now continuing on. We do have an expansion here from the Protoss. He did pull back a little bit because, you don't want to be overly aggressive with the Dragoons against the 2-facts, because even if you push him back, you can sneak vultures around the side and lay mines in the retreat path, and also just just run vultures into your base and kill shit. But I mean, this kind of attack, he's going for the mine drag, doesn't quite get it off. Nice little pull back there from Iris. And he might be able to do some damage to this Nexus. I'm really not sure if this will actually work. Oh my god, do not pull that mine! Jesus, that is very dangerous. It is possible to micro Dragoons against spider mines even without detection, but it's very, very difficult, especially with units actually attacking your stuff. Because if you try and do the whole fancy hold position micro against a mine and something shoots you, the Dragoon will bug out and not shoot anything, and then the mine will just kill everything. So you gotta be really careful. He might actually lose this Nexus, by the way. Oh my goodness, he's actually gonna get sieged in here. I thought the attack was over, but actually Trap now gonna lose his natural expansion. Trap now in a little bit of trouble here, contained on his one base. You can see there, it looks a little bit nervous. I can't believe that this has happened. I cannot believe that this has been I don't want to say that Trap allowed this to happen, but really going 2-gate against 2-fact should essentially be a free win for you. I mean, to be completely honest, it's not really a build order. Well, it's kind of a build order counter. There's just really no excuse for losing your natural like that going 2-gate against 2-fact. I don't think. I mean, to be fair, Iris did it. I mean, the thing, and also the initial attack. He flanked the initial tank. Did a great job shutting it down in the first place. It's not even like he missed micro in the beginning and lost a bunch of Dragoons or anything like that. He was in a good position and he just pulled everything back. Had no idea that the push was coming so aggressively. Oh wait, I forgot to change my overlay to say trap instead of last. Ha! My bad, my bad. Man, I've been dropping the ball on my overlay micro today. It's pretty terrible. My overlay micro is almost as bad as Trap's 2-gate. Anyway, we have a couple of mines here late in the main. I think he's scared of like a Reaver counterattack, which is very, very interesting to me. I mean, that is definitely one thing that, you know, Protosses love to do when they get contained by a 2-fact or when they suffer some damage. The immediate response is often to just go straight for Reavers and just try and win by counterattacking, and we do in fact have a shuttle here, so presumably that is what's going to happen. But oh my goodness, these vultures running into the main base. It looks like 2 of them do get taken down. One of the vultures is going to get into the main. Even if he doesn't kill too much, he's going to get a scout off, and it is in fact Reavers. He is going to see that support bay. So a great, you know, great anticipation there, great awareness by Iris to have all those mines in place. So this could actually be quite bad for Trap. If he goes in here with that shuttle, he could just like drop his Reaver on mines and lose it instantly. I really like these well-placed mines. Notice that Iris is not placing any of the mines too close to his minerals. He doesn't want any Zealot to like mine track into his mineral line. But he is placing them in likely locations that the Reaver will drop, while also having tanks and turrets spread out in his base. Look at this. Look at all that Reaver defense, man. He's like hardcore Reaver defense. Like, I am absolutely hard countering your Reavers. And of course, being 2-base Terran against 2-base Protoss, you know, does give you a nice position. So I think that's probably the correct decision here. Even if, you know, you might say, well, he's committing so much defense and he's over defending. But on the other hand, if he just doesn't die to this Reaver, if he doesn't take significant damage, then it'll be very, very difficult for Trap to really come back in this game with such a late 3rd base and having to rebuild his natural. He's getting a Citadel up now and going for 2-base Arbiter. Okay, so Reaver into 2-base Arbiter. Interesting decision here from Trap. So that's gonna delay his 3rd even further, but that's gonna give him a lot of flexibility going into the mid game here, mid/late game. Basically, when you go for 2-base Arbiter, there's several ways you can punish your opponent. Like, so if you see your opponent going for a super greedy 3rd, you go for fast recall and you just recall his main and kill him. If, you know, you're a little bit more scared, if you think he might go for more aggressive pushes, you just get stasis. And then with the Arbiter cloaking as well, your army is pretty set against any kind of Terran attack. And now he's getting his 3rd base, so just delaying that slightly to get that tech up, which will give him a lot of safety in the mid game. And of course, it does take quite a while for the Arbiters to get up, though, so Iris still has quite a bit of time to do whatever he wants. And also, the thing is, Iris also already has a lot of spider mines in his main, which is obviously bad if you're going to recall, right? Because, you know, if you just happen to recall on a bunch of spider mines, you can just lose a bunch of dragoons instantly. I'm not sure why Trap has left a gap there in that pylon wall. It's a little bit weird. Anyway, looks like the dragoons now going to move out, going to do some mine clearing and perhaps put on some pressure. Whoa! Oh my god, that Reaver! That Reaver has like 1 health left. I don't know what it was doing, why it only has 1 health. But he's trying to poke in here, trying to just deny that 3rd base, and that's a good idea, because, you know, he is getting his own 3rd. Wants to stay a base ahead of the Terran, but looks like, wow, look at that, ours already has Goliaths out. So, I mean, I assume those were just to actually deal with the shuttle, but those will also help later on in picking off those pesky Arbiters when they come out. Looks like the first Arbiter is on the way, but, you know, Arbiters take forever to build. Seriously. Like, okay, if you've never played Broodor, if you're a StarCraft 2 player, alright, think about how long it takes a Dark Shrine to build, and then it's like 50% on top of that. Like, that's how long it takes an Arbiter to build. It's just friggin' forever. You can, like, you know, when you're making it, you're like clicking. It's so funny. Like, you know, sometimes when you're playing a game and you're waiting for your Arbiter to come out, and suddenly the turn starts pushing. You're like, holy shit, come on, Arbiter, come on, come on, come on. Just like you click on the Stargate, you're looking at the little progress bar, and it's like going so slowly, and you're just like, oh, come on, Arbiter. And then it does like the Windows download thing where it's like it's about to finish, and then suddenly it's like, oh, actually it goes back into the past, and it's like suddenly you need 2 more hours to finish your download, and you're like, why? Why do you lie to me, progress bar? Oh man. Good times. Good times. So, looks like Trap is fixing his messed up wall there with that pylon. And I mean, he's got his 3rd base up, but now Iris has established his own 3rd. Just gonna float that over. And actually, wait a minute, does he still... Oh no, no, he's just adding more gateways. He's got more gateways in the top right of his main. But, yeah, it looks like Iris is going to play passively. It's really interesting. Despite that 2-fact opening, he's now just going to transition into a macro game. He's not like trying to press the advantage that he got early on. He's just saying, well, you know, I'm in a good position now, so I'll just take this lead into the late game. But that's a little bit of a risk, though, because, you know, as we saw by the statistics, Trap is an extremely strong player. And as you go further and further into the game, the advantage that you got in the early game just makes less and less of a difference. Like, eventually it just goes away. Because, you know, you both, you know, get all your bases up, you get all your macro up, like, nobody really cares what happened with the 2-fact anymore. So, I mean, you know, Iris is still in okay shape, but, I'm very nervous about him taking this to the super late game. He's now getting his own science facility up to help get some science vessels to deal with those arbiters, get some detection, get some EMPs. Trap's 4th base is now going up. As I said, you know, it is a little bit delayed. All his expansions are a little bit delayed, considering after the damage he took from the 2-fact and having gone for the 2-base arbiter. But eventually, it'll be all good. He's just ahead in the supply now, 140 to 131. Protoss at this point probably wants to be a little bit further ahead, but again, having gone for the more tech-heavy play, I think that's fine. Wow, look at this. There's so much anti-recall defense here. Iris just does not want to get recalled at all. The funny thing is, though, I'm always curious when Terrans lay spider mines in their mineral lines and expansions. It's like, well, even though those mines will kill the recall units, they'll also kill all your own SCVs. So essentially, the recall kind of accomplished part of its mission anyway. So I don't really know why Terrans do that. I mean, Iris hasn't laid that many mines in his mineral line, but look at all the turrets and mines. Holy check! That is a lot of anti-recall defense. He's just going nuts with those turrets. This is like he's playing BGH or something, or fastest map possible. He's playing fastest right now, and he's just doing the mass turret ring around his main. Oh man. Actually, wait, is fastest in StarCraft 2? Has anybody made fastest in StarCraft 2? Because fastest, man, that was actually kind of fun. I'm not gonna lie. I loved playing fastest in Rudor. Anyway, but of course what this doesn't mean is that, you know, once he does decide to push out, like once he gets a max or close to max Terran army, he's not going to worry about the recalls anymore because, you know, a very common tactic that Protoss uses is, you know, when they see the big Terran army moving out, they're like, oh, let me just sneak a recall into the main and force you to move all your units back so that you can't actually push me. And basically they just try and do these delaying tactics so that they can get their own infrastructure up. As you can see at the bottom right, Trap is taking a 5th base. He's also starting to add gateways there. He really wants all these gateways to finish. And so he's going to just try and stall this push as long as possible in order for those gateways to finish. Because if he gets like, you know, 8 to 10 gateways down there at the bottom right, it's going to be next to impossible for Iris to really do anything with the push. Because he's going to be reinforcing from so many gateways, and even if he starts containing the main, there'll be a second source of gateways producing units, which will be really annoying and, you know, allow for nice flank attacks and whatnot. So I can kind of see what Iris is doing here, but I feel like it's delaying his push a little bit anyway. But it looks like, okay, now he's moving out. Did he just shoot his own Vulture there? What was that? What just died? Oh no, I think the Reaver shot it. Okay. The Reaver shot it from the high ground. Looks like 2 Arbiters are out, some High Templar as well for some Storm. Meanwhile, a 4th base is actually making, and by the way, he's just made that command center at the bottom of his main, so he's actually going to take the 9 o'clock base. That is really crazy here. He's basically following the principle, you know, expand along your push path as a Terran, which is correct, but means he's essentially, he's essentially taking the Protoss' 3rd here, or what should be his 3rd. And, well, looks like some more probes being transferred down to the bottom right. Both players getting very, very close to max. 184 supply to 186. Looks like the army's moving forward. The shuttle actually gets sniped by the Goliaths. I'm pretty sure that shuttle had a Reaver in it. I think Trap might have been trying some fancy Reaver micro or something, but he does lose the shuttle. But now we have a counterattack going in to the 12 o'clock position here. A big counterattack. A couple of SCVs going to see this. And where's the army? The army's not that far out of position, so they're going to be able to come back very quickly here, but they won't be in a good position with the tanks sieged up and the mines and the vultures all laid in front of them. So they're actually, now the tank's actually in the front. Oh my god, Storm! Yeah, Storm, huge Storm, and a big Zealot bomb there at the end gets a good number of siege tanks there, but the Protoss army is going to get pushed back here. However, as I said, this kind of attack, it's, you know, this Protoss attack is not designed to actually kill the expansion. It's not designed to kill the army. The entire purpose of this attack is to buy time, is to delay. You do not want the Terran to be pushing you right now. And as we can see at the bottom right, more and more gateways are going up. So this is definitely working. The clock is ticking for Iris. He really needs this push to start making some progress here. He cannot just keep pulling back and defending. He needs to go. But he's been reducing supplies down to 150. His vessels keep getting stasis. But he really has to start making progress going down towards the Protoss Natural here. I mean, not only does he need to start putting more pressure on the Protoss, but also he needs this push to work to establish a 4th base. Because he's floating that command center down to the 9 o'clock now. So if that push needs to actually go and secure that. And it looks like he is actually holding that middle ridge now in between their bases. But I'm a little bit scared for him because now all the Protoss' extra gateways are up at the bottom right. So he's going to have just an insane amount of production. He's going to be able to remax so quickly. Especially now that he is maxed, and he's basically now going to start stockpiling money. And oh, it looks like there was actually a recall here at the 12 o'clock. He actually managed to find a sweet spot here where there weren't actually any spider mines. So he's going straight in here. A nice storm on the SCVs. It is mostly Dragoons here. They are going to get cleaned up here by the reinforcements of Iris, but a nice little attack here is going to do a good amount of damage. However, that does mean that the main army is weakened, so now the Terran army is rolling into the natural here. The main army, the Protoss, is trying to come back, but oh my goodness, the Protoss army is all split up here. He's not going in together, but a huge stasis on the middle tanks, an epic stasis on the tanks. It looks like is going to allow him to clean this up. The EMP is too late. I thought that was a bad position for the Protoss. It looks like it still might be here. He's losing a lot of units. Those tanks still are on the high ground, and of course, eventually those tanks will come out of stasis, and he's going to need the units to deal with them. Look at that, he's only got 2 Dragoons left, and there's still tanks on the high ground here, so despite the awesome stasis from Trap, he's still in a little bit of trouble here. He's got all the extra gateways. The problem is he doesn't have the bank to spend, he doesn't have the money to spend to make all the units. Didn't actually buy himself quite enough time, didn't have quite a good enough economy to really support all of these gateways. So now he's got the gateways, but he doesn't have the money to produce from them, unfortunately for him. However, he's bringing in a few zealots here, just really wants to clean up these few siege tanks. Is he going to get it though? So more reinforcing vultures coming in here, going to try and save these tanks, and it looks like he's going to do a good amount of damage, but is eventually going to have to abandon these siege tanks. Although he is bringing in some more reinforcements here. Iris just pouring on the pressure here. Trap is still actually at a supply lead, interestingly enough. Trap at 133 supply against the 115 supply of Iris. Iris now has taken that 9 o'clock base, but Trap is now expanding to the 3 o'clock as well. Trap just having no fear that his natural is getting blown up here. He's just expanding yet again. Dragoons, meanwhile, going for a counterattack. I'm not sure what they can hope to do. They don't even seem to have an observer with them, so they will just actually die to spider mines if they're not careful. But actually the 12 o'clock does seem relatively undefended here. Yeah, it looks like he's going to be able to do a bit of damage there. There's an SCV having a seizure by the minerals. I have no idea what happened there. Maybe he's epileptic and like the sun just reflected off all the minerals like a disco ball, and he's just like having a fit. That'd be quite sad if you're an epileptic SCV. Anyway, it looks like these reinforcements are going to clean it up, but oh, big wave of zealots coming in, and this is exactly why I was saying that second source of gateways is so painful for the Terran, because it basically means that even though he's contained to the main base, like these units can't get out of the main, all the units from the second set of gateways, they can be set up for flank attacks. If he wants to break a push, they can do counterattacks, as we just saw. They can be so infinitely annoying to the Terran player. Which is why he really wants to kill the Protoss before those are allowed to get up. But even now that they are up, I mean, Trap is kind of contained in his main. It looks like actually Iris is pulling away most of the units now, but Trap has lost his natural. He's now looks like he's about to lose his 6 o'clock base, and it'll be very easy. Once the tanks move into that 6 o'clock, they can actually start pushing down towards the bottom right natural as well very easily. But it looks like we are going to have an engagement here, and storm on the tanks. Very nice storm. The shuttle goes down, but actually it looks like this attack is going to get cleaned up. Very, very nicely done engagement by Trap here. In these small unit counts, the Protoss army is just generally so much more efficient there, as you can see, with getting the great storms off. And Iris, even though he's killed the natural, he's not won the game yet. Now, now that the Protoss is breaking out of his main, the fourth base at the 9 o'clock might become a little bit vulnerable for Iris. He's going to have to leave units there to defend that while he thinks about trying to attack the bottom right expansions. And looks like, he's moving in once again to clean up the rest of these units. This is such a close game, actually. This is a really, really scrappy game now. With both players kind of hovering around 100-ish supply. And oh man, these storms though are absolutely brutal. I cannot believe these storms. These storms absolutely keeping Trap in this game. Looks like he is going to get pushed back into his main base once again. But the 3 o'clock is up and mining, so Trap is on, I guess, 4 bases essentially, whereas Iris is just on 2. And looks like, wow, really low SEV saturation actually as well at the 12 o'clock, although I think low probe saturation at the 6 o'clock as well, but essentially a relatively low economy for both players considering what point in the game we are. And Iris just can't seem to quite finish off the main base, or at least just doesn't want to. I mean, that's kind of a correct choice. Oftentimes the Terran will just push the Protoss natural and then not bother to go into the main base. They'll just kind of contain the Protoss a little bit and not try and push up the ramp, because that can be quite costly in fact. But yeah, this is still anyone's game, I think. And Iris has to be a little bit careful. These storms are really wrecking him. He needs to be a little bit more on the ball with the EMPs, or at least just the spreading out of his units. Trap still ahead by about 15 supply here. He's getting more Arbiters. Got another shuttle. Looks like he's going to maybe go for some Zealot bombs with that. And where is Iris actually pushing? He's kind of just sitting now. It looks like he's not decided not to push anymore. Just establish a defensive position here. It's probably a good idea because, you know, as a Terran, you really want a very solid core of tanks and other support units before you go for a push. I mean, Iris is only at 133 supplies, so really not great, not the best time to push, I think. So just going to harass some Vultures here at the 6 o'clock. I think it's a very, very good move. The 12 o'clock, though, is once again under attack by a bunch of Protoss units here, laying some mines in the way, going to do some good damage. Oh, man, these tanks actually shelling everything as it comes in. Nice storm once again, though. Are we going to have another? Yes, another nice storm from Trap. It's going to do a lot of damage here. Did we get a third? No, nice snipe there by the Vultures on that High Templar. That's also another thing he can do to mitigate the damage from these storms. You know, he's got so many options. He can either EMP or snipe them with Vultures or just spread his units out a little better. I think you can even just target fire them with siege tanks as well if you really want. Tank range having so much more range than the storm, but it looks like Vulture's actually going to single-handedly take down the 6 o'clock. But we do have a recall in the 9 o'clock here, and this is actually Iris's main source of income right now. Iris looks like he pulled too many of his units back to defend the 12 o'clock against that ground counterattack, and might actually lose this expansion, might actually lose the command center there. He saved all the SCVs for the most part, but he is going to lose the command center. I think it's going to be really, really close. He needs the SCVs to go on the low ground and repair. He needs to start repairing that command center, and I think he might barely save it and clean up all these units. Man, Trap just doing a great job here, making use of everything he has in the Protoss arsenal. But every single time, even though he's doing a good amount of damage, he is losing the main engagements. He is losing a lot of units every time one of these fights happen. Looks like he's losing his shuttle as well. They're losing all of those Dragoons. The command center, I believe, has been repaired. It can flow back now to start mining again. And Trap has now lost his 6 o'clock base, but I mean that was the base that, you know, he transferred most of his probes away from anyway. And looks like now some Dragoon's going to go clean that up. Trap still has the bottom right 3 bases there. The bottom right main and natural and the 9 o'clock expansion. And Iris is on the 12 o'clock, which should be getting mined out soon there, since that was his 3rd base. And also the 9 o'clock, which, you know, just had to be forced to lift. So I really don't know who's ahead right now. Actually, I'd probably say, now that actually the contain has been completely broken, Trap is probably slightly ahead, slightly in a better position. But his upgrades are actually horrible. Look at this, he's got no armor or shields. Did he... Wait a minute. What is his attack upgrades? Because the Terran's been at 3-2 for a while here. What is... Oh man, I hope they click a Protoss unit. Oh my god, he's only got 1 attack. Wow, no wonder his army keeps getting smashed. His army is just not upgraded in the slightest. Oh, that is not good. That is not good at all, but he is actually quite ahead in the supply, and he's going to go for a recall. Recall into the 12 o'clock. Iris having to lift that immediately. Does not have his units in position to deal with this, and Trap just playing this beautifully, pulling the Terran army every which way. A huge mine, though, does go off, kills a bunch of Dragoons, and looks like Trap actually having a bit of miscontrol on his army. He's got a few random units sitting here in the middle of the map, and looks like, oh man, more Spider Mine's going to kill these Dragoons here. These recalls are getting quite costly. I mean, the thing is, he didn't kill the command center, he didn't kill any of the SCVs. All he did was force a lift, so he's essentially just denied some mining time at the cost of a good number of units there. And now the Terran army is pushing down now. Iris moving out with a 120 supply force, not exactly the biggest force, but he does have fantastic upgrades. He's going to be very, very careful, though. He is unsieged. He's unsieged. He's got to be so careful about getting caught out of position. He's got very, very few vultures with this force, not enough support units. It looks like the Protoss army actually is in position to maybe go and attack the 9 o'clock instead as a counterattack. Looks like some of these pros are trying to transfer, but they do get caught in between a few units coming out from those gateways at the bottom right. And it looks like actually we are going to have a flank attack here from the Protoss army. The Terran is unsieged. He needs to siege up. He needs to get a good position. He needs to lay some mines. He's getting some vultures in from the back. Maybe he can use those to snipe the High Templar. I think he needs to snipe some High Templar, but no, the Zealots are closing with attack storm on all the tanks. Oh my god, it looks like the Protoss army is going to crush Iris's army here. Iris getting himself in a bad position, getting flanked by the Protoss and all those devastating Protoss spells, the imbalanced spells, the stasis, the storm, just completely wrecking him, and it's looking really bad for Iris now. Iris not mining from the 12 o'clock, only mining from the 9 o'clock, whereas Trap is now establishing the top right main as well. Some vultures running into the 9 o'clock to try and do some harassment, but some cannons are going to stop him. And this is just so painful for Iris. I mean, I thought he was in a great position after he killed Trap's natural there without taking too much damage from the counterattack. But what can I say? Protoss is pretty good in Brood War. It's a pretty strong race. Anyway, now Iris has suddenly plummeted to only 80 supply against 150. He's dropped to almost half the supply of Trap now. It's looking like this is going to be game over for Iris. I mean, that was a valiant effort, really a spectacular TVP here. I gotta say, I'm super impressed by Iris's play, even though I think he's pretty much lost the game at this point. He's lost that really big core of siege tanks that he had. That was really the only thing he had. I mean, Trap for the longest time just could not engage that straight up, just had to keep buying time, had to keep doing counterattacks, doing recalls, and yet finally he managed to get a good position. He had enough stuff, and he just went for it, although he is going to take a lot of damage attacking into this position. I'm not sure that's the best idea, but no, it looks like he does once again have just enough to break through. And more importantly, this is the last mining expansion of Iris. Well, actually, no, it looks like Iris did re-establish the 12 o'clock. But, oh. Well, it's still going to be quite painful for him. Oh, God. Losing all the SCVs now as well. So Iris, of course, being the stalwart Air Force Ace player, is not going to GG for a while. But no, never mind. GG from Iris and Trap after a very difficult game. You can see how happy he is. I mean, you know, he looked on the back foot from after losing his natural to the 2-fact, and then later on getting pushed into his natural in the mid game, in the late game. He was on the back foot for so long, and yet making great use of the recalls, the counterattacking, and the Psionic Storms, was able to take it. So Trap makes it a 2-0 for STX Seoul, and we are going to go on to the StarCraft 2 matches. Man, I feel so bad for Iris. That game should have been his. You can even see him just shaking his head as he came out of the booth. He's like, friggin' Protoss. Like, if that was Idra playing Iris right there, he'd probably go off on Twitter right now and make a bunch of angry tweets about how Protoss is stupid. Actually, you know what? I'm pretty sure if Idra was watching this game, he'd do the same thing anyway. Artosis as well. Do you guys think Artosis is watching this? What's Artosis? No, he's probably casting IEM right now, or at least he will be soon.